practitioner strokes a woman's genitals in a precise pattern. In 2001, a Californian startup called One Taste began building this trademarked and supposedly revolutionary technique that promises to increase female pleasure. I joined them for an introductory weekend session for a German newspaper feature. The woman who ran the course wore high heels and cocktail dresses, and the male staff sported black t-shirts bearing the slogan, "Powered by Orgasm." Their sales pitch was aggressive, their charm seductive, and their expertise in all matters erotic impressive. Our clothes stayed on. At night, I slept in a suburban commune of Omas, a villa with chandeliers and golden taps in the black-tiled bathrooms. I had my own room, but all the others shared double beds with a flatmate, sometimes on a weekly rotation. It was deliberate so that all your shit comes up, as one young tenant explained to me. She was exhausted from the volunteer work she was doing for One Taste while saving up for an expensive masterclass. The fridge was stocked with kale, and the Wi-Fi password was orgasm123!! After San Francisco, I went to Holland to visit TNT, the new Tantra. Started by an eccentric Australian, the organisation had become popular in Europe. I found their course liberating, but also unethical and gross. In intimacy exercises that went beyond anything I had ever experienced, we were pushed out of our comfort zones, with drugs and alcohol in the mix, and publicly ranked at the end. Those who made the cut, marked by a wristband and new name, were the attractive and unquestioning ones. A year later, TNT was exposed as a hardcore sex cult sailing under the banner of personal growth. There were reports of physical, verbal, and sexual abuse in the inner circle. Also, in 2018, the FBI began investigating One Taste in San Francisco for prostitution and labor exploitation. The company stopped all classes and moved their business online, while in urban centers around the world, burgeoning almhouses folded. Thousands of people who had believed that they were a part of a good thing, who gave their time and skills, their money and energy to these organizations, felt duped and disillusioned. But some became even more entrenched in their defense of the leaders. What had started as innocent and exciting, attracting bright, ambitious members of society with a hunger for connection and growth, because those are the ones that cults want as members, not the broken and dispossessed ones, led to cult carnage and trauma. And this wasn't even the tip of the iceberg. Keith Raniere, the head of the American personal development cult NXIVM, who had his initials burned into the skin of women in his inner circle, was arrested and sentenced to 120 years in prison in October 2020. One of his top soldiers, Alison Mack, was a successful Hollywood star. She was sentenced to 3 years imprisonment. From social media echo chambers to sports clubs, we are tribal beings, dependent on connection through a shared purpose. But in an increasingly secular society, traditional religion has lost its place. In its stead has popped up the self-help movement, there to meet and monetize a need that is as old as humankind itself, to understand who we are deep inside and to make sense of this complicated world. For some, it's about finding their soul on a spiritual path. For others, it's a new technique from an inspirational coach that helps them be their best in their job. Whatever the pursuit, it usually comes with its own subculture, denomination, or lineage. Nothing about these movements, their members and their motivations is innately wrong. There are myriad excellent reasons for stepping out of the maelstrom of the materialist society, wanting to create a world that is more egalitarian, more kind, or more sustainable. Pioneers, activists, revolutionaries, and visionaries have always paved the way for social change and higher awareness, from Jesus of Nazareth to Mahatma Gandhi and Greta Thunberg. But when charismatic leaders turn their followership into parallel societies that look like safe havens in an insane world but cause harm, we call them cults. It's a controversial term among experts. Academics prefer to label them as high-demand groups, or even more neutrally, new religious movements. But despite the loaded and multi-layered meaning, a cult song describes a Beatles classic, not a chant in the Hare Krishna temple, I will stick to the term in this book. Its more sinister meaning is fitting to describe conglomerations on the fanatical fringe where people willfully